Not yet. All right, welcome everybody. I know a lot of people were waiting. You're waiting for me to finally go live, but we had to get some technical things together. But I'm here with a dear friend, a good man, a guy that I admire, the actual producer of Uncle Tom the movie. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen it. I mean, he's the truth and the legend. So I thought it'd be a great idea for me to go live with Mr. Justin Malone himself, and we're going to go over the movie. We're going to talk about it. We'll be able to ask Justin any questions that you have. I know a lot of you guys probably are wondering, how did this happen, or why did he do this? Why did he? We'll let you know. It'll be present for you. So, without further ado, Mr. Justin Malone. Hey, Justin, I just want to ask you a question, man. Where you from, bro? Where you from?
I'm from Dallas, Texas.
So we got a Texan in the house.
That's
right.
If
y'all from Texas, man, give Justin a shout out, man. So I watched the movie, I don't know how many times. A lot of people that are on here, I'm sure they've watched the movie as well. It was a tremendous film. I feel like if anybody, if you want to know the truth about Black history, if you want to see some inspiring individuals that are not all the same, from different demographics, different backgrounds, or whatever, it's the perfect movie. So Justin, for my audience, man, like what inspired you as a Caucasian-American to decide to make this film?
I think it was the obvious hypocrisy that was just kind of slapping me in the face. The seed was planted when Herman Cain ran for president, and I saw how the media treated him, and that was the first time that I'd seen a black man treated, belittled on TV like that. And I was like, well, that was very interesting, because just 3 years prior to that, Barack Obama was held on a pedestal, and there was a lot of pressure to support him because he was black. And so that's when the seed was planted. And then fast forward, it was actually people like you and Candace Owens. When we were going through the 2016 presidential election and our country was on fire, I saw a lot of young black conservatives emerging, and I was fascinated by it. So on one hand, you have the media saying how racist America is and how racist then candidate President Trump was, yet I was seeing this explosion of support for him in the black community, and I was seeing a lot of black people becoming conservative. And so you match that with what I saw with Herman Cain, and I had gone back and researched Clarence Thomas and all the things that were happening, before I was politically online. And there was just a moment where I knew that this was a project that I wanted to explore. So I had my producer, writer Ansel, reach out around Dallas, Texas, to see if we could find some black conservatives.
Let me cut you off real quick, Justin. Everybody keeps saying you got to turn the volume up. So if you could turn it up a little bit.
Yo, is that better?
There you go, brother. There you go.
Better?
You the man now. They can hear you now.
Sorry. Right. Do I have to start over? I'm not starting over. So.
No, don't start over, man. Keep going. They hear you.
So that's where I found Chad Jackson, who ended up being a big part of the film, kind of the star of the film. He was one of the first interviews I did here in Dallas. And as soon as when I left that interview, I knew that this was going to be my next film. So we chopped something up and packed up and went out west and started the journey of getting the film made.
That's awesome, man. I mean, I remember when you came to me and you was like, hey, man, I got this idea. And I was like, dude, this needs to be done. There's nobody that's doing what you're doing in this space. And nobody had I'm just being honest, man. Nobody had the mind to put this together and actually put the rubber to the road. And I think some of it was due to fear, and some people may say, are you afraid? I mean, were you fearful at any point? And so what would you say to people who may say, were you afraid to make this video for multiple reasons? What would you say to those people?
Yeah, I went through fear, of course. I mean, we're kind of in a hostile climate right now. But it was on my heart so heavily that I just had to pursue it. And you think about the backlash that you're most likely going to get. But then when you sit down and you interview Herman Cain and he tells you these stories, it's right. I remember when I interviewed you. I think we interviewed you for over 2 hours, and I think it was just you and me. Yeah, that's right. The first one was you and me. I mean, so you remember like kind of how how personal and intimate that was, and I just felt that with every interview, So I knew that it was important, and I went through my personal struggle with knowing that there was probably going to be backlash because this is a story that is not convenient for the current narrative that the mainstream is pushing. But I've made peace with that, and it's already out now, so there's nothing I can do about it. So. But it's exciting, and the backlash, to be honest with you, hasn't really happened yet. So I mean, I'm sure it's going to, but right now it's been a lot of positive and a lot of love.
Yeah, I mean that's expected, man. There's a lot of conservatives that are out here that are excited about a film that can just really illustrate truth, man, and without emotionalism or without the social justice component to it, but just really illuminate the stories of so many African-American conservatives or Americans of African descent who are conservative. It just really highlights their message and story. So I want you to tell my audience, how long did it take you to make a film like this?
2 years. We worked on it for 2 years, from the first interview till the premiere on June 19th. It was a little over 2 years. So, I mean, it took a long time to kind of get going. I mean, like I said, we shot some interviews in Texas originally, and then we started pulling our resources together. We cut 11 minutes of the film, and then we went out to Los Angeles and started shopping it. That's where I, connected with Jesse Lee Peterson initially. And then it really was a God moment because I had been trying to get a hold of Larry Elder for a couple months. We were hitting him on his inbox and because obviously he was an interview that I wanted to get. And I had connected with Jesse Lee Peterson and a couple of other people. And so we went out to Los Angeles, and it just so happens that week was the week you guys did your first Blexit event ever.
Oh, yeah.
So we went and filmed that. I actually got backstage and met Candace Owens, and it was quick, but I let her know about the project. And that very next day, Larry Elder messaged us back and said, "Sure, I'd love to participate." And so he invited us into his home. So then it just started rolling. And once I interviewed Larry, and then probably about a month later, I went and shot him again. But I had edited more of the project together that included a lot of you guys and him. And when he watched it, he immediately said, like, "How do I get involved in this? What do you need to make this happen? What can I do to help you complete this project?" So he, the next night we had dinner, we made a deal, and then that was it. Once I had Larry, then I was able to get Herman, Colonel West, Candace Owens. We probably name dropped Larry to get you in it, if I remember correctly. And I believe you met. Yeah, I interviewed you at Larry's house.
Yeah, that was our first interview at Larry's house. And I think that's what made me feel like, oh, this must be really authentic. You got Candace on, Larry Elder. I guess it's open season for me. So, but what is your favorite moment of filming this documentary? Because obviously people probably don't realize that you were the one with the recorder, filming, meeting people, and having the opportunity to ask these personal questions that people were able to respond to that really made this thing happen. So what's your favorite moment of being a part of producing Uncle Tom?
Well, as far as the production side of it, I thought it was really magical filming everybody come out of the White House after the Young Black Leadership Summit. We couldn't get in. For some reason, we were late to the game, so we couldn't get in. So we're like, well, let's go where they're going to exit. And we just sat out there with our camera. And so we interviewed people as they were coming out of the White House. And I remember while I was filming it, it felt like I was filming historical footage. I remember like looking through the eyepiece, and it was so natural, and saying, "Hey, man, I think what I'm capturing right now is history." Because when you're looking back at historical films, you don't know if the guy filming it realized. I mean, when Martin Luther King was alive, it was just in the moment. It was 50 years later that you realized how historical it was. But I felt that at that moment. But I would say my favorite part of the film, when I watched the film, and the part that I'm most proud of, is when Bob Woodson takes you through the history of Black America through the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and then that folds into the nuclear family and the importance of fathers. That part gives me chills every time. Every time I've seen the film, I can't believe that I made that moment. That's my most proudest moment as a filmmaker is that moment inside the film when it
Right.
talks about how important family is and fathers are.
And I typed it into the comment section, but tell people where they can find the movie. How can they watch the movie? I've seen a lot of questions like that.
UncleTom.com. I mean, everything's there. We chose to self-distribute, and we're partnered with Salem Media now. But I think UncleTom.com is always going to be the hub. It looks like this is going to grow beyond the film. There's a lot of material that didn't make it inside the film, and there's a lot of people really responding to the education they're getting from the film. A lot of people are responding to how much history they're learning about, which is interesting because it's an hour and 5 minutes, and people are messaging me saying I learned more watching this than I did all through high school. This is So, UncleTom.com, you can buy the movie there. You can stream the movie there. And I think in the future, in the coming months, we're gonna where it looks like it's going is we're gonna probably start adding more and more material there, and really probably develop it into a learning center for conservatism and Black conservatism as well. So
that's awesome, man. Shauna, thank you so much for the super chat. Everybody who's super chat, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Thank everybody for joining in this thing, man. The numbers are getting up there. So, I don't want to say who was your favorite to work with, but what was one of your favorite moments of working with an individual? Not include me. I know I was the best, but not include me.
No, I mean, but in all reality, I felt you and I had a great time making this film. I mean, it was very nice for you and Corinne to invite us into your home. We actually stayed with you for several days and filmed you, so that was great, and there's a lot of stuff that we captured of you that didn't get to make it in the film because you can only make one film. I had a really, really good day with Herman Cain. I mean, because I had supported him when he was a presidential candidate, and I thought he was bigger than life then. I really loved his story and his energy and his patriotism. So I was a fan of Herman Cain. And he kind of planted the seed for this film, So, what was it? 7 years after all that, I'm in his office. The minute I walked in his office, I felt like I had known him for years. I was so comfortable. And if you've watched the film, you can see, how much he gave. I mean, it was pretty quick that, we connected, and he let his emotions out on the film, and he put it out there for everybody. And I think he has probably the most emotional moment in the film. And then we interviewed for a couple hours, and then the minute we walked in, he said, "Hey, I got lunch reservations for us. We're gonna take y'all to lunch." So we did the interview, and then he took us to lunch. I think it was really early. It was like 11:30 or 11:45, but we had scotch at like 11:45 in the morning. And you could just tell he's everyone that is around him loves him, and so that was really really a good day. The Bob Woodson interview was really nice too because I didn't know about Bob Woodson. Larry, when I was out west, when we were on the East Coast filming, Larry said hit up Bob Woodson, so we hit him up, and I didn't know much about him, and I didn't have time to research him. We get into his house, and the minute we started rolling, I discovered this guy is like a civil rights legend. He's been in this for over 50 years. I could just feel the weight of this guy's importance. And then whenever we had finished the interview, we went upstairs and his wife had set out a lunch for us, chicken, like a potato salad, this whole lunch, and we sat and got to have lunch with Bob Woodson. And so, I mean, there was a lot. I mean, it was great, man. And this is by far the most important and most rewarding project I've ever worked on, by far. Like, it's changed me as a person. This film.
Wow, man, that's awesome. So I know we talked about a lot of stuff in the movie. Obviously, we want everybody to go watch it. It's UncleTom.com. You're obviously our names are here, but this is Justin Malone, the producer of Uncle Tom,
the movie. Director, Brandon, the director.
I keep saying producer. I get director, producer mixed up.
You're gonna hurt Larry and Ryder's feelings.
Let me. I'm gonna let you speak for your title. So, but I just know that you were doing a lot. You know, Ryder did a lot too. People don't know who Ryder is. I mean, he was just your right hand man. You know, helping you in these interviews, especially at my house. You know, you guys stayed with us. So, but I think people may not understand. Let's walk people through what exactly is the movie speaking about, right? We don't want to give it all away, but let's walk people through methodically. Like, what is the movie going to, or what will the movie teach you when you watch it? Like how is it rolled out on the carpet? Is it cartoons? Is it whatever?
No,
how it's rolled out.
I think that the film, watching it now, because when you're doing a documentary, it's discovery, right? I didn't know and you remember during our interview, it was very conversational. And I did every interview that way. I wanted everyone to speak their piece. I wanted to make sure everyone was comfortable, that everyone could get their thoughts clear. I wanted to make sure that, we weren't rushing in those situations. But now that I look at the finished film, the one thing that it does is it's kind of conservatism 101. And I don't think anyone's really ever been able to explain conservatism. I think conservatives have done a poor job at selling conservatism, which is expressed in the film. But it kind of just takes you through what conservative values are. It's through the lens of Black conservatives. But I think watching it completed and stepping away from it, and then, as the filmmaker watching it, it's like, wow, this just kind of explains what conservative values are and simplifies it.
So people want to know about Chad, because I think that he's probably one of the individuals in the movie that is not well known on social media. And people who have watched it already, he's probably the main character. When you look at it, it's kind of encapsulated into Chad's life. He's the very first individual that you see when the movie turns on, and I think it ends with Chad. So a lot of people don't know who Chad is. He don't have a big social media platform. But walk us through, Justin. Like, why did you pick Chad, and why is Chad one of the most important voices in Uncle Tom the movie?
Well, Chad was, like I said, he was one of my first interviews. I mean, when I walked out of the interview with Chad, that was the nail in the coffin that this was going to be my next film. I mean, I get goosebumps just thinking about, and it was that interview was just fire. I mean, it was just all the way through. And so as I went on, I used the Chad interview and a couple of the other interviews to kind of go out and pitch the film. And then as I got bigger names and bigger names and bigger names, Chad was always just in there. His interview was hanging in there with everybody. And the way when we were editing, we organized everybody's clips according to what we were talking about. And the way we approached it is the best soundbite won. Whoever said it best, whoever said it the most genuinely. So, and Chad was in there. And it was really when Colonel West gave me a copy of Booker T. Washington's Up From Slavery. I had never read that. I did not know much about Booker T. Washington, unfortunately. And Colonel West, which if you watch the film, he explains Booker T. Washington beautifully. Well, Colonel West had written the foreword for the new edition of Up From Slavery, which he said was his biggest, one of his biggest accomplishments. So I read the book and then I read it again. And there was a connection about work, right? The importance of work, the importance of labor and doing things. And Booker T. Washington's philosophy was, if you have a trade, then you'll be of value and racism won't matter. If someone's, that was his philosophy. So when I was learning about that, and then I looked at Chad, right? Chad is, he encompasses Booker T. Washington. And for me, the reason why I made him the star of the film is because everybody pretty much in the film is either on YouTube, their social media, they have radio shows, their media personalities, like yourself. You guys are in the fight. You guys are fighting to educate people. I felt like Chad was the goal. Chad is the goal. Like, in his 20s, he starts a plumbing company. And now I think he's up to 30 employees. He's 30 years old. Like, he's the goal of what you are fighting for. So, I mean, luckily, with Larry being our producer, and the best thing Larry Elder did for this film was he really let us nurture this film. He gave us the time to not rush it out. So the Chad opening and closing and being that main character is a result from having the time to really learn this history ourselves. Like, you see how much is in the film. I mean, imagine another 5 hours of that, and imagine processing that. So I think Chad is the goal, and Chad encompasses Christian and conservative values. Like, Chad is proof that America is possible.
Man, that's awesome. How long is the film?
It's 105 minutes.
105 minutes. And it was longer, but you had to cut it down. So it's 105 minutes. Everybody, you can get it on UncleTom.com. UncleTom.com is streaming there. That's the only place that you can get it for now. After a while, it's going to be all over the world. And we're all over the world in the sense of the traditional things, potentially.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Well,
I don't know. I can't say too much.
I don't know who wants it, man. Like, it's funny because it's getting a lot of attention from people, just not a lot of attention from the media. So it's interesting. It's very interesting.
But you know why, though? We everybody watching this know why it's not going to have that much attention from the media, because they cannot allow this message to get out there. They can't do it. If people see Uncle Tom, if they see that movie and they watch it from the beginning to the end, because once you start watching it, you're not going to be able to not finish it. If you don't like it or whatever, you're going to be like, okay, I'll wait for the next one. It's going to drag you out to the end. You're going to be wishing there was a part 2. But when you watch it, it's going to change your life. Like, even as a conservative, I was in the film, and watching the film felt like it changed my life. It gave me more respect for Alan West. I mean, I met him in person, through the premiere, and Colonel Alan West is a legit individual. Like, people don't understand. And I met a lot of other people on the cast as well. Herman Cain is a big deal. Like, these men are legends in the conservative idea. And just like Thomas Sowell, 20, 30, 40 years from now, people are going to be looking back at this film as some of those highlights that Thomas Sowell had, 20, 30 years ago. So I think it's very interesting. Hey, thank you guys for giving me the shout out. I made 1 million subscribers. It's y'all the ones that got me there. Y'all got me there.
Hey, congrats, Brandon. You deserve it, man. That's a big deal, man.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. But I think this movie is a big deal as well. And you have a channel, right? Where can people find the materials for Uncle Tom or
everything's at UncleTom.com. All of our social media, all of our everything. You can just go there. I mean, we paid quite a bit for that domain, so like, let's use it. Just go there, and you can buy merch. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram or YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, they got merch there. I got an Uncle Tom hat, black on black, murdered out is what they call it.
Yeah, it looks good, man.
So you've had a plethora of different individuals in the film. So people haven't watched it. It's not just young people like me.
No.
It's a variety of different individuals.
It's from coast to coast, young to old, rich and poor. I mean, we covered every, the diversity is rich in this movie, and yeah, I mean, I thought that was fascinating. I think the most fascinating part, one of the most fascinating parts is how consistent y'all's values were, y'all's views were, you know. Everyone really knew what they believed and what they stood for, and the consistency was shocking, you know, because it's like the values are there, you know. So the continuity between everyone's interviews and everyone's perspective of the world. I mean, there were some things, you know, like, you know, someone might be a little bit more libertarian, or someone might be guided a little bit more through Christianity, but the fundamentals and the foundation was spot on. And I thought that gave me a confidence, like, hey, you know, this is pretty clear that, you know, this isn't false, that this is real.
So we had a question, and it just went by real fast. I didn't see who asked it, but I kind of caught the verbiage of it. Is how different do you believe the backgrounds were? Like the context of where the people you interviewed came from. Did most people come from the same background, or what?
No. I mean, you had people. I mean, look at the difference between you and Candace. You know, I mean, you know, or I mean, Chad grew up in the country. You know, you grew up in Fort Worth. Larry grew up in South Central. Herman grew up in Jim Crow Atlanta. So did Alan West. Alan West was born in a Jim Crow Atlanta. You know, Carol Swain grew up in rural Virginia. So I mean, it's all over the map. You know, some middle class, some poor. You know, some you know, upper class. You know, but the differences are vast. But like I said, the ideas and the beliefs are very consistent. And you know, I thought that was really cool. I mean, one of my favorite days was filming Patty on her farm. You know, I mean, that was awesome. And she's really out there doing it. I mean, she's raising her rabbits and her chickens and her goats, and she was just so nice and so welcoming. Everybody was hospitable. I mean, everybody. I didn't, you know, I filmed everybody in their home, minus Herman, who I filmed at his office, which, you know, is just as welcoming. So it was fantastic, man. It was crazy because it's like, you know, I've known a Colonel West for years, and the next thing you know, like, he's all, come on in, and it was cool, man, to get to go in everyone's home, and we didn't have, you know, like, it wasn't ever a big crew. Like, we never had more than, I think, maybe 3 people sometimes, but most of the time it was just 2 people filming. And I think that was a big advantage because it let everyone's guard down. Because sometimes when you walk into a big studio, like, you just kind of, you feel like you're on that tightrope, and you know, but you know, we didn't rush anybody. You know, and I personally feel that everyone in this film is portrayed in their best light. I honestly feel that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people. Jesse Lee is in the movie.
Yeah.
Joe Patrick is in the movie. Damani Felder is in the movie. Some of the I mean, Jesse Lee is not an up and comer. I mean, Jesse Lee is pretty well known, but there's a lot of up and comer type conservatives in the movie. But when you watch the movie, I might give a sneak peek to people for a little bit who haven't watched it. But when people are talking on the movie, like myself and Colonel West, their names are not popping up during the movie, and some people were wondering why. Like, why wouldn't you, when they come on the screen, why won't you put their names so people know who they are? So what was your thought process in creating a film where individuals are talking, they're showing up in and out of the screen, no names, and then at the very end, I think you identify people? What was your thought process in that?
Well, a lot of it was just my instinct was telling me. I mean, we had tested it, and I just didn't like it. You know, I felt like, because when we were editing it together, like, every moment was concise, and like, we put a lot of thought into every cut and every soundbite went, and even just the idea of, like, taking your eye to, you know, the corner of the screen and your mind wandering, well, who is that? Like, if I were to put Chad Jackson in the corner, are you listening to the fact that, you know, when God came into his heart and it opened his mind? Or are you trying to figure out, well, who is Chad Jackson? Like, I felt like the story as a whole was more important, and that at the end of the film, we would let you know who everybody was. I didn't want people to get caught in in a rabbit hole. I mean, maybe some people are wandering anyway, but I feel like when you watch it, you just kind of get brought into the story, and you start, once you realize that you're not going to know who people are, you let go of that, and now you're listening to the story as a whole. And narrative films don't tell you who the characters are. You have to watch the story. You got to lean into it. You got to figure out what's going on. And I feel like documentaries shouldn't be different. I mean, I'm telling that you're telling a story, and also the film is called Uncle Tom: An Oral History of the American Black Conservative. And when I was reading up from slavery, in the very first chapter, Booker T. Washington explains how the slaves got information. One of the slaves would overhear something at the train station, and he would bring that back to the plantation, and he would share that, and then they would share that. And it was very crucial that they kept this pure, and that's how they got news, and that's how they passed down their history, because this is before Black Americans could read. A majority of Black Americans could read, and so there was something about that. And then the way we were conducting the interviews, that's when we decided that there would be no voiceover, that there would be no written word on the screen, that it was purely going to come from the dialogue inside the interviews. And then that's when my obligation was to tell y'all's story, because it was, it's sometimes it's easy when you're editing something to throw narration in there to connect a dot, or put a text card up to connect a dot. We really made sure we didn't take that shortcut, in that it was pure. So I love the fact that there's no written word on the screen, and I love the fact that there's no narration. It is a pure oral history of the American Black Conservative.
And I think it was great that you did that. We had spoken about it before, about the conflict of putting names on there or not, or should it happen like that. But
you weren't always on board, Brandon.
I wasn't. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Like, I was I think when Colonel Allen West pops up on the screen, Colonel Allen West should be there so people would know. But man, I got to tell you, man, after I watched it, I was like, that's exactly why he didn't do it. Because when I see it, I see a story being told, and I'm not worried about the narrators. I'm not worried so much about who's telling the story. I'm listening to the story being told. And along the way, you begin to identify with each individual, but you have to look at them impartially, right? And you have to be somewhat curious to the end, because you don't know what Herman Cain really did, but some of what he said kind of spoke to his professionalism, how he carried himself. But you wouldn't know that he ran for president. You know what I'm saying? So it keeps people in an impartial perspective, where they don't jump to conclusions. If you say former police officer, and they like, oh, I don't like cops.
Yeah.
Or United States Colonel, then like, oh, I like him more so than anybody else because I identify with his profession. So when you leave all that stuff out, man, it's literally a oral history being told, and each person is created equal in the story that's getting out there. So I want to do a little bit of Q&A for people in the audience that may have some questions specifically. If you guys have questions, then feel free to ask questions through the super chat, or you can ask questions just on a comment. Just make sure you tag my name in it so that I can see that you're asking a question and not just making a comment. So we're gonna go through a few things. I mean, I'll start out with this. How well, and this is my question, how well did the film do in comparison to other films that are of the same genre? Like, did this film do really well? Was it okay? Do you expect more? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's hard to compare, because it's not a theatrical release, because we're living in a COVID age, which the film was produced to be released theatrically. That was always the plan. That's the way we shot it. And around April or May, we started realizing that we didn't know what the future was going to be for theatrical releases. And Colonel West, I showed him a sneak peek of it, I think in early May. And we talked about it, and it really moved him. And he became very supportive of the film after he watched the cut. And he had the idea to release the film on June 19th. And I thought that was very bold, but he explained to me that, it was a day of liberation and he felt very strongly of the film. So that became our target. And we realized that we were going to have to release the film online. And I'm glad we did because it's been very successful, but I had no idea. But just to put it in perspective, we did double what Inconvenient Truth and Bowling for Columbine and some of the biggest political documentaries of all time have done in the opening weekend.
So double
In the opening weekend. I know. So we launched at midnight on June 19th, and before the premiere, and before
which is Juneteenth.
Juneteenth.
People didn't realize it was on Juneteenth.
Yeah, you were in Dallas, and before the movie had started at our premiere, it had already sold like 10,000 downloads before, and that was with no anything. That was just word of mouth. And so since then, I mean, I don't even know where we're at today. But it's been steady every day. I'm getting messages every day.
And it's got a pretty good rating. Let me jump to one of the audience's question. I'm gonna pop it up on the screen,
okay,
and then we'll talk about the ratings that it has online as far as documentaries. So Adriana said, "How do we get this documentary on Netflix?" ?
Well, I mean, the Netflix thing is an interesting question. It's out there. We haven't been approached. No one's shown interest of it. And I mean, if I were to guess, the Netflix are in business with the Obamas, and the film challenges Barack Obama's presidency, based off of y'all's perspective of his presidency. So I can imagine that there's probably some internal political reasons why Netflix wouldn't carry it. I mean, I would love to, obviously Netflix would be amazing for this film. But I think Netflix doesn't really have a history of putting out conservative content. So I'm not above Netflix by any means. I mean, that puts you in 50 million households or 100 million households right away. But I haven't heard a peep from Netflix, and they know the film exists. So we'll see. I mean, I'm guessing that they're just not a fan of the message.
Yeah, they're scared of the message. Let me bring another person in. Elliot said, were there any fears building up when you released it?
Absolutely, but I think I made peace with it. This film brought me closer to God in every way. I think it was put on my heart. And the more that I've gotten into scripture and building my faith, you, as a Christian, you learn to not live in fear. So, but yeah, I mean, every now and then just yesterday, I was worried that there hasn't been any backlash because we've been getting so much positive, and I'm wondering, well, no one's even bashing the film. And it's one thing if no one's bashing it because it's failing, but it's not failing. So I was like, is there a boardroom meeting going on right now? How to destroy me and my family? I don't know.
We'll try to get to some more questions. We'll try to do it a little rapidly so we can get everybody in there.
Okay.
Next question, real quick. It says, Brandon, is the movie out? If so, where can you find it? Real quick, tell them.
UncleTom.com.
All right. Let's see the next question from Silly Witch. Any talks on a second documentary?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm always going to make films. I think what I want to do is nurture Uncle Tom for the next several months. And just today we were working on some of the material that didn't make it into this final film. And we're building a library. So we're going to figure out how to get the deleted scenes and all the, there's so much material that didn't make it. So we'll get the fans access to that material first. But I don't know if it's going to be a part 2 or if we're just going to build a library or like an educational hub for people to watch everything that didn't make it in. And then down the road, I don't know what I'm doing next. Hopefully I'll have a good Christmas with my kids and then I can take a break and we'll regroup in 2021.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so next question from a gentleman named Justin. How bad has the criticism from the mainstream film industry, how bad has that criticism been, if any?
None. I mean, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but that's what I was saying. I've been worried that it hasn't happened. I was kind of thinking that there'd be a hit piece. Really, the only mainstream media attention that we've gotten is the Chicago Tribune wrote a review on it, and they wrote a positive review on it. So I don't know. I mean, I pray that maybe this film is actually changing hearts and minds. I don't know, but I haven't. It's been very positive. So thank God. I mean, I don't know if the shoe's going to drop or what's happening, but I'll take it as a win right now. But if you look at the reviews online, people are reacting very, very positively to the film.
All right, next question from Bob Clark. Brandon, were any liberals interviewed?
No. I mean, everybody that was in the film was a conservative or libertarian. The reason why I did that is because I decided to make it a 100% one-sided film. It's an oral history of the American black conservative. I felt the entire film needed to be viewed through that lens. I didn't want to get into like a counter or splitting it up. Their liberals are in the film, like Trevor Noah and Barack Obama. There are black liberals in the film and white liberals in the film, but I felt this film was the black conservative story, and we decided to make it 100% one-sided in that aspect.
Okay, cool. Tomer says, Brandon, where can I find the soundtrack?
It just launched yesterday. It's on Spotify, it's on YouTube, it's on Amazon, and it's on iTunes. You can stream the entire score on all major platforms right now.
Awesome. We got another question for someone who super chatted $15. Appreciate it. How did you find, choose, and meet Patty?
I had followed her on Facebook for about maybe a year or two. I think I found her around the election when I was getting really interested. And I thought her page was awesome. It wasn't all politics. I thought like the farming thing was really, really awesome. And when we were, because we had drove around the East Coast from Dallas, we drove up and interviewed everybody. And she was, in the South. And we reached out. She responded, and she said that she would love to have us. And she actually had turned down Vice, so that was really cool. That she let us into her farm and gave us that time, because that was a wonderful morning filming with Patty.
Awesome. I want to put this up there. This is my brother Mario. So Mario said, for those who haven't seen it, don't sleep on it. It's absolutely fire and enlightenment. I'm challenging all Brandon subscribers to donate $1 super chat. Congratulations, bro. Well, hey, y'all heard Mario. Mario put his money where his mouth at. He did 20 already. I think he did a comment earlier. So, hey, if y'all want to take that challenge of Mario, I'm not going to be mad at you. But I appreciate it, Mario. That's my brother, man.
Thank you, Mario. Thanks for the kind words.
Let's see. Somebody asked this question. Super chat said, what about Hulu?
We're considered, so right now we're released independent. It's doing very well. All the money that went into making this film was private money. There was no Hollywood money or corporate money or super PAC money. So, and we worked on it for 2 years. So there was a lot of money that was put up to make the film. So right now we're recouping that. It's looking very good. So we'll have more information, probably around September, the beginning of September. There'll be, new platforms to watch it on. So we'll just play it by ear. Obviously, we think it's important to get this film out to as many people as possible before the election, just so people have this information and can act accordingly with it. And so just stay tuned. I mean, right now, UncleTom.com, we're riding this wave, but, it will be widely available soon.
Here's an interesting question. The real dark squishy. Thank you for the $20 super chat. It says, how did you get the domain name? How did that happen?
Money, man. I had to save my lunch money for a long time. No, we found it and somebody had it and we negotiated it, and it wasn't cheap, but I knew back then that it was crucial. I mean, UncleTom.com just had a ring to it, And I think it was interesting because it is a provocative thing, but it also is a common thing. So it wasn't cheap, but we knew that it was important. So we put our resources to obtain that domain ASAP.
Awesome. Let's see. All right, we have another person this week in Civil War history. Do you think BLM will have issues with this film?
Yeah, I do. I think I would love for them to watch it. I had interviewed with somebody yesterday, and they were asking about me being white and like how I was going to react to all this. And as far as I know, there wasn't any black filmmakers that were going to make this film. And I don't think that color should dictate what films you could make. I would love for Black Lives Matter followers or supporters to watch the film with an open mind. I think the film is positive. I think it celebrates Black America in a very positive way, and really in a way that I've never seen. I'm very proud of the film for that. So I mean, I would hope that BLM and celebrities too. It's like I want Snoop and Spike Lee and LeBron.
All them SJWs.
Yeah, I would like them to sit down and watch it. Like, you don't have to agree with it, but watch it. Because the thing is that no one's been given this information. It's like, just watch it. We're not trying to like. It's a film. Get the information. You don't have to. It doesn't have to change your worldview, but it's better to have the information. So go ahead.
I'm sorry, Robert got a question. He said, got a coupon code.
Brandon.
So you can put Brandon in, you'll get a discount. So put Brandon in when you go watch the movie Uncle Tom at uncletom.com, and you'll get a blessing. Some of y'all don't need a discount. Some of y'all doing very well. But if you need a discount, put in Brandon in the discount section, and it'll be all there. Let me answer this question. Columbus Banker Bob says, question for you. Love the film. Any thoughts on how to get one of best friends, a professional Black woman, to watch the movie, or consider other thoughts than the CNN version of BLM? So any thoughts on how to get your best Black friend or your best friend that's Black to watch the movie? I'll comment on it. I think it was addressed to me.
Yeah.
I'd just say pitch it to him. Say, hey, I saw this interesting movie. What do you think about it? If you are conservative and she's not, then I wouldn't necessarily tell her what it's about. I wouldn't necessarily pitch it to her as if you've seen it already. You could just pitch to her like, hey, do you see this movie? Uncle Tom, have you heard of it? And then she'll have the responsibility, because it's going to be a striking title. She'll have the responsibility to say, let me Google this. And you go like, I saw some guys talking about it, uncletom.com or something. You can find it, whatever you want to say. And I think some people will watch it just to see what exactly are they talking about. Is this some SJW film? Is this some, crazy, ridiculous film? And I think they'll go on. Let me get a super chat in here. Josh, thanks so much for the $50 super chat. Much love to you. Let's see. Steve, thank you for the $50 super chat. Bro, you give me hope from our country's future. Keep up the good work, man. I appreciate it. Let me try to get some more questions in here. Let's see.
You gotta love them super chats, huh?
Oh man, people they're so kind and generous.
They really are, man.
I definitely appreciate it.
You have a good thing going, Brandon.
Yeah, I try to just tell people the truth.
You do, man.
The whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help us, God.
You're an American treasure.
This is one of my new favorite channels. It's called This Is Africa. Thank y'all for the super chat. It says it would be good if Trump would say something about Uncle Tom, the movie, in his next press conference. We're going to try to make this happen. Now, I'm going to do my best at trying to get Uncle Tom, and we all will. I want to do my part in trying to get Uncle Tom screened at the White House. That would be historic. Now, I know people that know people that know people that know Donald Trump. Matter of fact, I know somebody that know him directly.
Several people.
I might be at the White House soon after COVID, and I'll be able to tell him. I'm just going to yell out, uncletom.com, watch the movie. But we'll try to get him to say something, because if he tweets it, if Donald Trump tweets uncletom.com or Uncle Tom the movie, it is going to be the biggest, because the haters going to hate. They're going to say, the president is a racist. He said Uncle Tom. Uh-oh. Now when people type in Uncle Tom with that much traction, Uncle Tom the movie is going to pop up. UncleTom.com is going to pop up. You know, this video will pop up and people will be able to see it. So we're definitely going to do our part in trying to get Uncle Tom, the movie, put out to as many people as possible. Even though I'm not a part of the directing staff or anything like that, I feel like that the mission is so great that it's my obligation as well, just as well as everybody watching, to spread the movie as far as you can and watch it first. Be inspired. Now, you do have merch, right? See, like the shirt I got on?
Yeah, we got merch, and all the merchandise and donations go to marketing the film. So they go right back into marketing it. And so, yeah, support the film. And like I said, you know, we really, really, really appreciate all the support and love. You know, we chose to release it independently, and we've gotten a lot of positive response. And so the next step is going to figure out how to get it more widely available. We know that a lot of people can't pay for films. Again, we didn't have an offer from Netflix or HBO or anything like that. So, you know, and with the whole Donald Trump thing and everything like that, I think it's just a matter of time. Because right now, it's just every day it's getting a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. And I think we're really enjoying that organic growth because we can keep up with it. And, you know, God's going to take it where he takes it.
Yeah, 100%, man. So we're drilling down to the end. We got about 10 minutes left. I just wanted to do a quick interview that's palatable, people can understand. Justin, I'm sure you'll come back. We'll do another interview. We'll finish answering a few questions here, maybe one or two more, and then Justin, I'm gonna let you say or give a statement of things that you would like to correct the record on, or say misunderstandings that you heard that you want to correct. I'll give you the rest of the time to do that. Let me try to get one more question because I'm stubborn and I said I would, so I want to find one more question. Let's see. Throw it out here. Let's see. Carrie said, "What's your thoughts for white women to wear Uncle Tom hats and shirts?" What's your thoughts on that?
Well, the thing is like the film was always called Uncle Tom, and I knew it was a provocative title, but since it's come out, and I think it's kind of taken the word away, because if you look at the history of Uncle Tom or the origin of Uncle Tom was a hero and he was someone to admire. So the interesting thing is whenever I was interviewing everybody for the film and I told them that the film was called Uncle Tom, everyone kind of like smiled about that, and they understood what, like, nobody in the film had a problem with it. So I think as an American, you can wear whatever you want. And I think the more that we get in front of it and we're not afraid of the mob, the more that we can kind of get things back to normal. But I think that Uncle Tom, I think this film is going to deflate that word and take it away from being a derogative word.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be honest. Like, just know where you stand. You know what I'm saying? You know, people are crazy. People get real insensitive, especially if you're white and you got Uncle Tom on you. They may think you're a racist. I don't know. So just have that judgment. You know, when I wear my Trump hat, I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to fight somebody. You know what I'm saying? Not that I'm going to start anything, but if I'm expecting somebody to confront me. And if I don't want confrontation or I'm not prepared for confrontation, I just leave that stuff aside while the iron is hot. You know, I wear my Trump hat because I'm ready to defend myself. But as a woman, if you don't have your Second Amendment, you know what I'm saying, and different things like that, then you might want to, you know, tread lightly on wearing something because the police ain't gonna help you. You know what I mean? And they've been out here beating people to death over things much less. But just be mindful. That's all I'm saying. If you in Texas, you're probably fine.
Brandon, have you wore your T-shirt in public?
I mean, I wear my T-shirt in public. I wear it on the airplane. I wore the Uncle Tom hat. I got a hat. I wear my Trump hat everywhere. So, and I've never been confronted, but I'm black and I'm 6'2", 240 pounds, 250. You know what I'm saying? Like, so people they think 3 or 4 times before they try me, but that's not everybody, man.
Have you gotten any glances or any comments or anything?
I actually made a video with this shirt on that got like 500,000 views. And so people are like, why you got Uncle Tom on? They're confused. I'm black, so if I have Uncle Tom on, they're like, well, what is this about? He's black. He's not being derogatory, and he's not being derogatory towards himself because he's wearing it. So it gets people thinking, like, what is that? And they'll talk to you about it.
Yeah, I think in the very opening scene of the film, when Chad says he pities people when they call him that because they haven't read the book, it's this metaphor for like how uneducated and unaware of our history we are at this moment in time.
Right. I think you hit the nail on the head. Is there anything that you've heard floating around that you wanted to address? I know that the movie is a 9 out of 10 on the website, the movie review website. It's 9 out of 10. Is there anything else that you would like to add, in the last few minutes here?
No, I mean, to be honest with you, that was shocking. And every day the reviews are pouring in, and it's funny because it's a 9.3 right now, but it seems like in the last couple of days there's been a lot of people going in and rating it a 1, but we're still in the 9 because we've gotten so many 10-star reviews on IMDb. So if you've seen the film and you like it, please review it, because it looks like there's some trolls getting in there trying to knock our score down a little bit. But I mean, I'm not too worried about that. If you read the comments, I mean, that just, if I were to ever feel depressed, I would just go there and hear people talk about how this movie is affecting them. And I've gotten so many messages from people all over the country, all over the world. I mean, there's people watching this thing overseas that are thanking us for making this film. It's interesting that American black conservatives are an inspiration to people all around the world. And that has been Australia, the UK, all over Europe, parts of Africa, people are hitting us up. I mean, it's been unreal. So I'm just enjoying it, Brandon.
I think black conservatives are the epitome of freedom, epitome of conservatism. And the reason I say that, the epitome, is because in a position where you can be a victim, you can blame the system, you can blame all this other stuff, or you can be a drug dealer, or you can be you can be stereotypical. You see people coming out and emerging as successful individuals who love America. Although we went through some stuff, we still love this country. We still believe in freedom. We still believe in our amendment rights. I mean, that's kind of like, that's almost seeing a poor man advocate for capitalism. You know what I'm saying? Like although I don't have no money right now, I still believe in the process.
Yeah.
And although, people are bashing me, people hate me, although, it hasn't been perfect in America, I still believe in American principle. And when you see that connection there, I think it's a powerful message. So, Justin, tell people where they can find the movie, where they can find you. I mean, anything else you have out there that you want to present to the people before we bounce?
Well, I mean, I would just say that, we're truly an independent film. This is a truly independent film. So, we're doing it grassroots. And if you go to uncletom.com, you can sign up for our email list. That's the best thing to do. Follow us on everything that you can. But the emails, that's how we can get direct connect to you. And again, if you sign up for that, you're going to get first dibs on deleted scenes, additional material that we're putting together right now. You'll get information first. So it's really just, and like I said at the beginning of the interview, I think UncleTom.com, right now it's hosting the movie and it's the starting point. But with, just with the interviews that we recorded for this film, I have hours and hours and hours of interviews that is just, it's so important. So we're going to put together a library and make sure that we can really get all this information and get it in a place that can't be taken down. And I think that's why we're wanting to host everything through the website, is just so we have control of it and we can really get all this important information. I mean, who doesn't want 2 hours of raw Larry Elder interviews? I mean, there's so much wisdom there, and Bob Woodson and Colonel West and you. I mean, I felt like I captured you pretty good, Brandon. I think I got a good side of you. So
yeah. So if y'all log in for any other reason, do it for me, baby.
Hey man,
look at my stuff on there. I'm on the movie.
Yeah, so, you are. You're in it quite a bit, aren't you?
But anyway, man, thanks, Justin. Thank you for coming on, man. Hey, thank everybody for watching. You guys have been tremendous. Thank everybody for the super chats. Obviously, when I'm interviewing somebody, I can't get to all of them, but I want to say thank you. We hit 1 milli We got 1 million subscribers on the channel.
Go.
I'm so blessed. It's all y'all's doing, sharing the videos, liking and subscribing. Modern Renaissance Man, I see your comments. Please write me right now on my store, or not on my store, but on my website, theofficertatum.com, theofficertatum.com. Go to Connect tab, put in exactly what you need. I'll try to read it as soon as I get off the live stream. But anyway, go to uncletom.com, uncletom.com. Watch the movie. It's the greatest movie that I've seen. One of the best documentaries that I've ever seen in my life. And it's not just because I'm in it, because although I'm in it, I'm inspired by everybody else that's in it. But anyway, we love y'all. We'll see y'all in the next one. I'm going to have Justin back. Y'all have a good day. God bless. I'm out.